Yes, guys. What's going on, man? Welcome back to another stream. As we just caught everyone off guard, I've seen everyone on the phone, and then I went, yes, guys. Everyone just went, woo. Back with another big stream, man. Back with Move from Noisy Pod, not Noisy Pad. Jason, JSGC, Daps, and Hugh. All the links to these guys, are in the description. So make sure you go give these guys a follow on their YouTube channels, man, and help the City community grow. But we're here with a big stream, man, because we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, City going to the Emirates yesterday. Arsenal not lost there in the league since April 2022, and City going there and get the job done. We're now top of the league, of course, and with a big weekend ahead of us. Arsenal playing Aston Villa away from home, 12:30 kickoff, and City have got Forest at 3 p.m. So massive weekend. So, guys, before we get into it, make sure drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new, and of course, like I say, if you could do us a favor and go and subscribe to everyone in the description, man, that'll do us all a massive favor and just help grow the City community. Where should I start? Let's start with Jason. He wasn't on the stream last week, man, but he's here today. Jace, what did you make of the game yesterday, bro?
Cracking victory. It's not often you see City having so little possession, 36% possession, lowest Pep Guardiola's ever had whilst he's been manager of Manchester City. Yeah, second half looked so in control. Everyone's been speaking about Man City, saying that they're back and that's the level that City are looking for. 36% possession and coming away with a 3-1 victory against a very good Arsenal team. I'm not going to complain. If it means we're going to win every game 3-1, I'm happy to have 36% possession every game, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that maybe the result was more important than the performance yesterday? And regardless of how we played, it doesn't really matter. The main thing was getting the result. Or do you think the performance as well was something that we needed? What do you think?
I think we're just getting towards the business end of the season. And right now, the only thing that's important for Manchester City is 3 points and winning games. And you've got to, at this point in the season, you've got to just be doing everything you can to pick up the victories, to pick up the 3 points, because the only thing that's going to see us lift that trophy in May is Man City getting them victories, getting them 3 points and getting all the pressure applied over to Arsenal and United, obviously sitting in third. So the only way we can do that is winning each and every game, get the pressure applied to them, because some point they'll drop points and we'll end up building up a nice little gap. That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm. Mulf, what did you make of it last night, mate?
Yeah, absolutely delighted with it, mate. I actually think that in listening to other content coming out today that we're massively underrating the performance, actually. From what the manager did with the tactics to how the players executed it. I thought we were brilliant, and I thought we were brilliant for almost the entirety of the match. Possession stats mean now. We know that probably more than anybody. When we didn't have clinical finishers up front, you get what Arsenal got last night. And I just think we're massively underrating how well we did.
What, even City fans, do you think we're underestimating it?
Yeah, 100%. I think City fans aren't used to seeing Guardiola let the other team have the ball so much. I think we did our own version of a mid-block, which is sort of City's kryptonite at the moment in terms of trying to get through it. I think Arsenal struggled with it. We didn't give them too much. Nketiah had a couple of chances, but over the course of 90 minutes, I really think we snuffed them out. And gradually, you know how you like to, I'll just say it. We started in the mid-block, and it kept moving up and up and up throughout the 90 minutes. And we turned the screw, LB. We turned the screw on them.
We did. Yeah, we did, man.
And forced them into mistakes. And then we were clinical. And our best players were clinical and well-deserved. Amazing performance.
Mm-hmm. Daps, you were nodding your head a lot there.
Well, you know what? I agree with you 100% about how good the performance was. And also Pep with the changes, because I think first half, maybe the back three didn't work as well as the back four in the second half, but it worked. And one thing I will say is something that maybe, right, so I've heard Arsenal fans saying, oh, you won because we made mistakes. No. We pressed you extremely well. Haaland was a pressing machine yesterday, right?
So you say we forced the mistakes.
That's what we want to see. Mm-hmm. And we know Haaland can score goals. What I'm loving is when we're seeing the assists, we're seeing him press and we're seeing him, because And we're seeing it when it's a televised game because we know it. We see it. And LB, you said this yesterday about Jack, right? On City Extra. On Big Six, sorry. We know because we see Jack every week, right? But people that literally just pick up their phone, go on an app and go, no goals, no assists, must have been rubbish, right? Same with Haaland. We've been seeing Haaland get involved, winning balls back. But when it's on a big stage and everyone's seeing it. But I think another thing that was really important is in the first half, we were committing quite a few fouls, right? But here's the thing. As our team, we're experienced. And this is the thing. We didn't get no one sent off. Second half, I was a little bit worried. But we know how to. And you know what? There is an art to this, right? Knowing when to commit the right fouls and when not to. And if you look at it, the fouls they committed and what that led to and whatever else is, it was just a really good performance. And it helps to put that pressure on Arsenal, which is what we do best in a title race. Put the pressure on the other team. And now, what a difference 10 days makes.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Hugh, you was there at the game, obviously with Daps and that. What did you make of it? Obviously they're in the ground. What's your opinion on it?
Huge, absolutely huge. If you want to talk about the intricate plays and who played well and all that kind of thing, you're asking the wrong man. Genuinely, you're asking the wrong man. I was so caught up in the vibe and the atmosphere. It's genuinely the best away end I think I've ever been in. That City away end was absolutely mega. From the minute I walked through the turnstiles and onto the concourse, me and Steve, we got there an hour and a half early because we couldn't find a pub that would allow away fans in. So all the away fans were on the concourse so early, and they're all so up for it. The older ones, the younger ones. There were some fans traveled over from America and India, and they were well up for it. Like, it was just if you want to talk about siege mentality, everyone's bought into it. Everyone's bought into it. And like I said, I won't be able to tell you about, great passes or who played great and the ins and outs of it, but it's the feelings that I got from what I saw on the pitch were absolutely huge. Things as small as KDB pushing Arteta. It showed a bit of aggression, a bit of anger. Grealish's celebration right in front of me. I got a sick video, but you could see him nearly ripping his shirt off, and he's doing all this to the crowd. You could tell. And then Pep told the whole team after the final whistle, everybody over to the fans now, over to the fans now. It's really like we're building on this. And I think this has been a massive, massive week, 10 days for our club. And when it was all doom and gloom after the FFP charges and all that kind of thing, there was a part of me was thinking and saying, we may look back on this week in May, should we be Premier League champions, and say this week was a massive, massive turning point. We've been saying all season, something is missing from City. Something's missing. We're not quite sure, Some players don't want to be there, whatever. Inconsistent selection, whatever. Performances, whatever. We needed something to kick us into an angry mode. You needed to wake up the beast, and the beast has woken up. I went over to the AFTV fan cams where they were filming them after the game, and loads of Arsenal fans were coming up to me, and they're genuinely shook. They're shook. Yeah. They really are. And I've done shows with Arsenal fans who arrogantly told me, City don't look hungry, City look washed, City don't want any more. And this is way back as far as September up to January. They're shook now. They're genuinely shook. They've been worried. They've said the scariest part for us is we lost 3-1 and City probably didn't get out of first gear. We know as City fans, we can actually see a better performance again. And I think that is still going to come. But it's what we took away from that. The feeling, the vibe, the siege continues. Absolutely huge night all round.
I think.
Can I just say something, Lewis, as well?
Yeah.
While we're talking, obviously, you're talking about AFTV, and firstly, a few people on there. I know you posted one hilarious one, Lewis. I saw that one. What a prick, right? But some of the other ones that were actually saying City's fans are unbelievable. But I just have to say something. As content creators, I've got to say, firstly, shout out to Huey. The day that the news got announced, I was hanging from the Tottenham game, and he jumped on and backed me and went on another show and had to take shit for me. And that meant a lot, But then last Friday when we did the show, and all of us were on it, And now, and this is a thing, that it's not just on the pitch. City's fan base in every walk of life, like the whole club has come together from this, And you don't want that with this Manchester City team. Like, even with our crowd, because I'll be honest, the one thing I spoke on last week is I've always felt a little bit of a split between the older lot and younger lot. You bring all of that together. You bring this whole City group together, we become an absolute monster. So we just have to keep up with this momentum because we've seen it. When we do it, when the fans do it, Pep's doing it, now the players are doing it as well. It's going onto the pitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And something that Hugh said then, is something that I've said all sort of season, and that we didn't get out of first gear. We've hardly got out of second gear all season, and we've been so close to Arsenal. And everyone's praising Arsenal. Oh, look how good Arsenal are. And something that I've said is, look, we were 5 points behind Arsenal at some point or something like that. And everyone's talking about how good Arsenal are and how shit City are, but we was only 5 points behind him. And at some point, something was going to happen to make us improve. Yeah. It's so about these charges, as you rightly put there and worded very well, Daps, is that these charges have united the whole fan base. Yeah. Everyone is together now. The club is together, the manager, the players, even the players that want to leave. You know what I mean? They look like they're ready to battle. And I just think, we really need to get a little bit of a run going. We've got 2 winnable games coming up in the league now against Forest and Bournemouth. If we can win them 2 games, and Arsenal got difficult games against Villa and Leicester away.
Villa away is a hard one for them, man.
Even Leicester, bro, they won the last 2 games. I know people laugh at that, but they've won the last 2 games and scored goals as well. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
But we've got to focus on ourselves. You know what I mean? This is something that I mentioned this morning on the player rating stream. It's all well and good going to Arsenal and beating them 3-1, but if we go to Forest now and drop points, it means jack shit, to be honest with you. So they need to keep this up, man, and continue the run. I'll just bring it into Mulv now, but then guys, just feel free to chip in where you want to have a comment on this. Jack Grealish, as I believe, has found a little bit of form recently and probably played his best football in a City shirt consistently in this last month or so. He got a goal last night. I thought he was very good during the game. What have you made of him recently, and maybe what have you thought of his whole sort of like development at City and where he is now?
Yeah, great one. So I've always just liked him as a bloke from day one. So I've always wanted him to become a big part of this side, and it has taken some time. Yeah. I actually thought we sort of carried him through last season. We carried Jack Grealish to the title. But I think all that playing time he got last season is now paying off. He's been referred to as looking like a competition winner. And I think that's down to a lot of his personality, because he's quite a humble guy. And in interviews, he was acting like he wasn't big enough to be at this club and to play with the players he was playing with. And he's absolutely flipped that now, where he is one of the main guys in terms of the levels. He's setting the levels for the rest of the team. Now, don't take this the wrong way, Jack. He and Nathan Ake have been 2 of our most important players this season. The problem is, you're never going to win the league if Jack Grealish and Nathan Ake are your 2 informed players for most of the season. They are brilliant, but we need our best players in their best form to win, whether it be the Champions League or this league. I think that might be starting to happen now. But massive credit has to go to both those guys, particularly Grealish, for, I think, carrying us through the last month or 2 himself, as we carried him last season. So he's amazing. I just love him as a bloke. Again, I think he's a perfect fit for the dressing room. As some other big personalities have left the club. So he's a real feel good guy. Massive goal last night. I love it.
I think the other thing is that we forget is he was captain at Villa as well, right? And I get that he's left Villa, where he was a big fish, small pond, and come into City. But you're right. Like he has been the guy that over the last couple. I mean, the Tottenham game, some of the tackles he was putting in, and this is the thing with him. I've always thought that he's becoming a pet player, right? He's spent the last year working out how to play as a pet player. And I've said, if he starts getting goals, Jack Grealish becomes elite, because he can do everything else. It's just the goals aren't quite clicking. Now, that goal yesterday, a bit of confidence. We've seen it with Rashford, right? Rashford scored. Now, fucking the guy won't stop scoring. If Jack starts adding goals and output as other people see it, he becomes like, all of a sudden 100 million will seem cheap for him. And his mentality is just different as well. I think, and that's what we need, because we've got players that have won leagues with us, most of our players. We need someone that, you know, wants to prove himself, and that is Jack. Like, and you know, when you say a player just get it, they get the fan base. Yeah, I feel with Jack and Haaland as well, they get it. They're both hungry. Like, that's what we need right now.
Do you know what the annoying thing is for me with Jack Grealish? And Lewis, you'll know this. I defended Jack all last season, even when I know he wasn't performing to the level that he probably should be. I still defended him because I believe he'd come good, and I just think he's a great guy, and we know the qualities he has. But this season, I think we're all in agreement that he has been excellent this season. I'm honest enough to agree with everything Mulv said, that he was a bit of a passenger last season, and we kind of took it on the basis that he would need a season to develop and adapt and all that stuff we spoke about in depth so many times. But this season, he has been excellent. And I spoke to Arsenal fans last night, right? And they come to me, they go, Hugh, I got Jack all wrong. He's actually class. They're telling me he's class and they'd love him in their team. I'm saying, what? Because he's actually scored a goal now. He's been playing like that all season. The only difference is he actually hasn't put the ball in the back of the net. Tonight, he's put the ball in the back of the net, and you're telling me Jack Grealish is class. Don't jump on it now just because he's putting the ball in the net. He's been like that all season, and I've said that. All these G&A merchants telling me he needs to get more goals and assists. I'll continue to run the line. If he never scores a goal again, but he's playing in a City team that's winning every single week, I love Jack Grealish. I absolutely love it. I have no issue with that.
He's been incredibly unlucky. Like that goal that he scored last night, he's made those types of plays time and time again, and they'll catch a defender's shin, or somebody will make a great save on him. You know, he's been very, very unlucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had one against Wolves, didn't he? That I think the keeper made a great save, which was unlucky not to go in. But
he could have had a hat-trick against Chelsea in the cup. Do you remember that game in the cup against Chelsea? Net.
I think
every shot Jack Grealish took, worldly save.
Well, if we're talking good games with him, we could reel off good games for Grealish like all day long. Like I always use this one as a marker when people talk about Grealish on like panel shows. I'll turn to the United fan and say, all right, so if we're basing it on GA, to the United fan, how was Grealish against you? And they'd be like, one of your best players. I go, cool. He didn't get a goal or assist, right? But a United fan's telling me he was one of the best players. So this is a thing that it will come, man. But who cares about GA? If you're winning leagues, who gives a shit about GA, honestly? Like,
it's fair, Jace. What do you reckon?
He's a very passionate player. I like what he brings to the team. He's one of them players that gets stuck in, takes games by the scruff of the neck. He wants it just as much as the City fans. And as already mentioned, he's one of them players that just gets what we're about. And you just feel like he's every game after game, he's just becoming more and more of a City lad, really, isn't he? He's class. He's absolutely
Do you think
class.
he's got levels to? Do you think he's got levels to go? How far do you think we've got more to see of Grealish? Or
the more he works hard, the more he listens to Pep Guardiola, the better he'll get.
You know what's funny, actually? I think Dax, you mentioned this. I checked the stats this morning. I did a little bit of G&A merchant on Jack Grealish, right? But I looked at the stats. Yeah, he's got 3 goals, 3 assists in the Premier League in 17 games, which ain't great, but it ain't shy. But if you actually work out how many minutes he's played, because of course we've got to remember he gets subbed off a lot. He gets subbed on when he doesn't start. He gets subbed on for the last 20 minutes. He gets a goal or assist just over every 2 games, which I don't believe is actually that bad for a winger.
Well, do you know what would be a great comparison, right? And I use this because for me, Vinny's my favourite player of all time, right? Aguero, obviously, with impact, Yaya, whatever. But for me, my best ever technical City player is David Silva, right? Now, I bet you if you compare the minutes played with David Silva, their stats are probably very similar because David Silva was often the pass before the pass, right? You get no credit for that, right?
No, you're not.
But you're running and changing the tempo of the whole game. So I bet you him and Silva's stats would actually be very, very similar.
Yeah, I think and maybe where opposition fans do have a point here is I think the fee kind of killed him a little bit in the sense that like when you spend £100 million on a player, I completely understand why opposition fans say, well, if you spend £100 million, you need to be getting goals and assists because I get it, that's a lot of money, but ultimately that isn't why we bought him. We didn't buy him for goals and assists. Do I think he needs to do more? Yeah, I think he does need to get on the score sheet a little bit more. And I think he'll be fully accepting of that. But I also take Mo's point there. I think he has been unlucky. You look at some games, he's having shots on goal and they're getting cleared off the line. Randomly, a defender goes on the line for no reason and clears the ball away from it. Or the keeper pulls off a wildy save. Or, he puts a cross in the box and no one's there or something.
Yeah,
so look.
Real Madrid.
Exactly. So I think, look, the thing is with Grealish, he's improving, isn't it? He's improving. And I think that's something that we should all be happy about. He's putting in good performances. And, I would just say this, the fact that Phil Foden is not going to walk straight back into that left wing position tells you just how good Grealish is doing right now, So
is anybody talking about £90 million Pepe's performance last night? Is that how you say his name?
I think
for
so.
Arsenal?
You want to go there, Move?
No, I'm just saying, he's got that albatross around his neck, Grealish, that £100 million. But
I think
you got
you know
somebody
what? Another
there
thing
who would have played for Arsenal last night who cost similar. He's not even there anymore.
I think Huey, I've heard Huey mention it before, and I think he mentioned it a minute ago about how for the first season, Jack's openly come out and said he kind of, he did feel kind of overwhelmed being at City, right? So with that in mind, that his confidence is not going to be, and we know the way Pep is. Listen, I always use Sane as the example. When people say about GA and all that, I said, listen, right, is Pep one of the best managers of all time? Is this Man City team one of the most dominant teams in Premier League history? The answer to both is yes, right? Now, so therefore you rate Pep Guardiola's managerial tactics, right? He used to drop Leroy Sane very, very often, right? So we all know, and everyone says it, if you don't do what Pep asks you to do, you get dropped. Mm-hmm. Grealish isn't getting dropped, which means he is doing exactly what the manager is asking him to do, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, and yesterday someone said, how many goals is Grealish to me on a watch along? And I go, I couldn't give a shit. And they go, well, that's not very passionate. I go, I don't care about individual players. I don't want to go on Twitter and say this player is amazing, right? We got that with Haaland if we wanted it. But we this is the thing with City. We're a team. 38 games plus cup competitions. Like, there's no player in City's squad that doesn't play under about 20, 25 games. Maybe Calvin Phillips this season. But so he's doing everything Pep's asking. So
yeah, no, that's fair. A couple of other players that I want to touch on. I will go right back to the goalkeeper here. I feel like there's a little bit of pressure at the moment on Ederson from a lot of fans, and it's not me personally. I'm not too that fussed, but there is a lot of fans coming in the chat and on Twitter who are not massively happy with Ederson's performances. And I don't think I know any of your opinions on Ederson, so I'm going in blind here. I don't know what you're going to say, Jace. I'll come to you first on this one, man. Ederson, well, what are you saying? Is he okay? Is he not okay? Is he going through bad form? Are you happy with what he's doing? What's your opinion on Ederson right now?
All depends on what you're looking for from a goalkeeper. We've got a goalkeeper that's brilliant with his feet, that's excellent with his distribution, that, as we were touching on before, he's one of them players, even though he plays in goal, he helps the team out. We've got another quality goalkeeper in Stefan Ortega Moreno that if Ederson picks up an injury, he can just pick up the pieces. In my opinion, Ortega Moreno is a better shot stopper than what Ederson is, but Ederson's better with his distribution. And if City are going to be spending most of the game with possession, then having a player like Ederson in goal is going to help with the build-up play. He's also got the capabilities of pinging a ball 70, 80 yards to take off the press of any team that's going to try and apply that to City as well. I think he's just one of them goalkeepers that you've just got to accept that sometimes there's going to be shots that come into his goal that you're going to think maybe he should have saved that. There'll be other keepers out there that would have saved that, but are there other keepers out there that can distribute the ball as well as what Ederson is? And I can't actually name you a goalkeeper that's better with the distribution than what Ederson is. So I keep him in the team. He starts every Premier League game, starts every Champions League game, in my opinion, whilst he's fit.
Hugh?
For me, the Ederson agenda that a lot of people seem to have nowadays, it's way overdone. It's way, way overdone. I mean, he's not a complete calamity. We've had worse goalkeepers in the past. There's worse goalkeepers playing for top teams right now. Yes, he doesn't come out with the worldly saves, but the big thing for Ederson is he's constantly compared to Alisson, who for me is the best shot stopper in the game. So if we're going to put them up against each other, yes, Ederson's inferior. But we know, and we've said this all along, what Ederson adds to our system, there's probably no other keeper in the world we would want. He does make big saves. And the thing is, people refuse to ignore that because he does make some errors, as all goalkeepers will do. He doesn't have a crazy highlight reel, but you have to remember, we spend most of every game with 60, 70, 80% of possession. So he's not going to get many opportunities to have crazy saves. I think it's way overdone with Ederson. I'm a big fan of Ederson.
Move, Daps, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I agree with both Jace and Hugh. I'll go a step further and to say that Ederson is going to become more and more important as we start leaning into Erling Haaland and his qualities in that like you saw yesterday, Arsenal, and I bet more teams will start doing this. They wanted to press us high, and there's nobody better in world football at the goalkeeper position to find a target like Haaland as Ederson is, and that's going to create loads of problems. It's going to keep defensive lines back. It's going to move the other team, which is key to how we play. So he's going to become more and more important with the distribution that he's got as we continue playing this way.
Do you know what? The one thing, and it kind of is off the back of that as well. Everyone always talks about the comfort with his feet as far as his distribution, but the one thing, right? So when you go to games and sit in the south stand, right? When we're attacking the south stand, you get to see Haaland's movement in the box. When we're defending it, you get to watch the goalkeeper, right? Now, the one thing that I'd say is massive, and this is key. This is if we go back to Zach Stefan, and we can talk about the Liverpool game, but we can actually talk about every game we played, but it got hidden because we won most of them till we lost one. Then it got highlighted. It's not just a distribution. It's when the ball gets played back to Ederson, it can have a bad bounce. It could be on his left foot or right foot. No player on the pitch alters their position. No player even flinches that Ederson will not be able to handle however it has been passed back to him. No one moves. Everyone holds their width. With other keepers, that changes. And the minute that changes, Pep's system does not work, right? Because it invites people to press us and then we lose the ball. And this is so key. And when people come at him about, oh, well, he didn't make one save in the semi-final of the Champions League. It's like, cool. We wouldn't have been in the semi of the Champions League. We wouldn't be playing the football that we play if it was not for Ederson. He's, for me, like that one player, as long as Pep is at this club, Ederson's at the club. There's no one better like at what he does. And I think Hugh is right. Because of this, one mistake, it's highlighted. Yesterday, for me, that wasn't brave. He came out, shut his eyes and jumped. Usually he's brave. He wasn't brave yesterday. So he was at fault yesterday, 100%. But risk versus reward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair. I just thought it was it's a very interesting debate because we see it all the time on social media about Ederson, and it never seems to go away. I don't think it will because I just think it depends on. I think what Jason said right at the start of this sort of topic is that it depends what you want from a goalkeeper. You might get some old school fans who will be like, I want Joe Hart back. But we all know, really, that Joe Hart would absolutely kill this team because he can't kick a ball for shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get the purists who are like the football purists who, don't care whether you don't save nothing so long as you're good on the ball. And then you get a few people in the middle who are maybe like, I can accept his ball playing, but maybe he needs to improve a little bit with his shot stopping. So it's a topic that I think will never go away because he's never going to be the best shot stopper. I don't even think he's probably in the best top 5 shot stoppers in the world. But he, for 100%, I think it was Jason again who said this, I think he is the best sort of goalkeeper distribution in the world. So, Pep Guardiola,
the best answer to questions like this always are, and it's like similar with Liverpool at the moment when people say they should get rid of Klopp. Okay, who's replacing him? And the same with Ederson. No problem. I'm not here to say Ederson is the best goalkeeper we can have. So if you can tell me someone that is as comfortable with their feet and also better shot stopper and available, no problem, right?
Yeah.
It's club over player every day. But if you can't tell me that, then what? You're going to bring in a great shot stopper that's shit with his feet? Well, that's not going to suit us. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Something that really fueled the agenda, though, was Courtois in the Champions League final. That was awful for Ederson.
Actually, I'll put this to you.
He can't come in because he fucked De Bruyne's misses. So
here's a question then. Here's a question. So Jason said that, and I agree with this, that Ortega is a better shot stopper than Ederson. So in cup competitions, do you think that it's possible to play Ortega instead of Ederson? Maybe in the league where if you got 38 games and realistically Ederson not stopping a few goals isn't going to matter. But in the Champions League, where it really, really is crucial that you stop everything that you possibly can, do you think maybe Ortega is the better shout for the Champions League and even FA Cup, Carabao Cup?
I hear it. Like Chelsea, he was great shot stopper, but then Southampton, he came out and his positioning was totally wrong. So I hear that, but you need a bigger range of games because he did make mistakes in the cup competition that cost us a game. So,
but now we finally got a fit and probably the best striker in the world. You don't take Ederson away from him.
This is it. This is it. That's what I'm saying. We've been complaining for weeks about how our build-up play is too slow and we're not getting in behind fast enough. And obviously a massive factor to that was not having the great ball playing centre halves. You take Ederson out as well, the whole build of play slows down. Our overall play suffers if there's no Ederson in the team. He's the man to play passes in between the lines, to pick those passes, pick those locks and whatnot. I don't think Ortega does, and you can call me old-fashioned and cynical, but at Ortega's age, if he was better than Ederson, and if he was a top keeper, he would not be Manchester City's second-choice keeper right now. He would be first-choice keeper at some top club. That's just the way I look at it. Maybe it's harsh on him, but I think that's calling a spade a spade.
So old-fashioned.
It made more
and
sense.
cynical.
It made more sense when we were playing the false nine to play like an Ortega in the cup games, but not now that you've got a striker that you want to ping to.
Maybe if we played as a low block, maybe if we set up as like a Tottenham Hotspur do, or as like a Man United do, where you absorb attacks, you're willing to soak up pressure nonstop, and you do need a serious shot stopper in nets. If Ortega's that guy, then maybe I'd say we could use Ortega more. But as a team that dominates possession and thrives on fast-paced possession and needs fast-paced attacks and transitional play, Ederson's just that guy. He is that guy, and he's that guy for me in world football, not just in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, fair. Let's go through some of these member chats and super chats that we've got. Big up Darcy, member for 8 months, says, are we back? Hope so. Yes, Darcy. Dr. Footy says, give me Mount and I'll sucky like the madman. Okay, bro, you do what you want to do.
I was looking at that one. I'm trying to work out what's going on there.
Bro, guy moves mad, bro. Guy moves mad. Big up Nick Toll says, Jack is the player I trust the most with the ball. And then he says, if you don't think that was a pen, then you can't slay Ederson. Fair enough. Elia, member for 3, says Ederson is the second best keeper in the league behind Alisson. Who else would City get anyway? Plus, I don't even believe he's that bad at shot stopping, honestly. Fair enough. Nick Toll says Ben Foster said Ederson is the best goalkeeper in the world. Yes. Chase has then come in and said, I feel like Ederson is highlighted so much because we have so many big pens go against us and he's never saved a pen, so it feels worse than it really is. And then Jake Levitz, yes, bro, coming in and says, the boy, shout out, move off, noisy pod, yes, guys. I remember,
thank you, Jake.
You can find all these guys' socials in the description. So do us a favor, man, go subscribe to every single one for us and help grow the City community. We've got 15 minutes left before we wrap up here, yeah. So I want to go into Ruben Diaz. He started the game yesterday, played the full 90 minutes. I thought it was absolutely exceptional. I'm gonna throw it out of there. One of you jump in. What did you make of Ruben Diaz, lads?
World class.
He's that guy, man. He's that guy. He's exactly what we've been missing. He's exactly what we've been missing all season. A concrete soldier at the back. A great footballer. Maybe not the most technically gifted, up there with the likes of Stones and Laporte, but he has that fire in the belly. And the way I was talking about vibes you get and reactions you see from players after the game. Ruben Diaz came over. He took his shirt off, and first of all, the guy is absolutely jacked. Yeah, his arms are the size of any of our heads. It's outrageous how hench that guy is. Anyway, he came over and he was buzzing, but he kept saying things like, we're not done. We're building on that. You could tell he's like, next one, and that's something that we've known from Ruben Diaz all along. If you remember that documentary, maybe it was the original Together one, is that what it's called? Where that we just knocked someone out of the Champions League, or we just won a big Premier League game towards a title, and he was like, on to the next one, lads, on to the next one, lads. You need someone like that when everyone's buzzing and everyone could easily just, get soaked up in the win and fall off at the rail a little bit. You need him to remind them this job is not done, and he's exactly what you need in the dressing room. He's exactly what we've been missing as well. I mean, some of those challenges he put in last night were brave of him, and he does that regularly. Challenges where he could give away a penalty, he could get himself sent off, but he's willing to take that responsibility on his shoulders on the basis that he's going to protect his goal at all costs. That's absolutely.
There's one point where he was on the floor and he was like, "You ain't getting past me." This is the thing. This is where we need him. The one thing I will say, and I'm pretty certain you said it yesterday, it's like when you're putting together a defense, for me, there's two lanes. There's the old school leader, and then there's a ball player, right? Mm-hmm. And that was the one thing Laporte, because Laporte, I honestly believe, helps the pace of the ball, right? The way he moves the ball about. But Diaz is that guy that is more than happy to sit at the back and just do the old school stuff. Like he said in one of his opening interviews, like, I get excited about putting in a good challenge. I'd rather do that than score a goal. Mm-hmm. That's what we need. Someone that allows the rest of this City team to go and do, like, who was it against? Villa, when Diaz had come off and what's his name was through on goal? Watkins was through on goal. And instantly I thought, it's fine. Diaz is going to have this. Then I remembered Diaz had been subbed off and it was Aki. And he took, it was Akanji. And he took too long to get over there. Whereas Diaz would have just been straight in there. Like, and the mad thing is that with him as well, when he is straight in there, I'm pretty confident he ain't going to foul them as well. He goes in with a crunching challenge, but gets the ball. And this is the thing that is so important to the rest of the team, Diaz, and the leadership. Corners, out jumping everyone, high-fiving everyone. That's what we need right now. We need that. We need Vinny. And we all knew it when he joined us, didn't we? He's the closest thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, for sure. I agree on the whole, like, you need him and then you need your ball player. You certainly need one of them. And this is the problem that we've had for the last month. We've had neither the leader and we've not had the ball player.
Yeah.
And that's been the problem. You have to have at least one of them in there. And we had Diaz in there last night. Obviously, he opted for the 3 at the back, and then he went for Akanji, and I thought we looked a little bit more sort of solid defensively a little bit when Akanji came on.
It's the same, because if you throw it back to like when Vinny was still here, when Vinny was injured, if Vinny was on the pitch and then we had Otamendi next to him, Stones next to him, Demichelis next to him, it was fine. It was the minute, and then when Laporte joined us, same thing. The minute you kind of put Stones and Demichelis or Mangala, or the partnerships was like, no, you need that leader, because Stones is more than fine with Diaz pushing him into position and say, this is where you need to be. And Stones is more than fine to be, and I'm the ball player. And it's I don't know. And that's my one frustration with Pep this year, is that he knows what's going on, but why Diaz took so long to come back into the team was a little bit confusing for me. But
I think in the long run we'll be glad. I think in the long run we'll be glad, because we have seen Diaz play in recent months, really, and he hasn't looked fully himself. Maybe he was carrying an issue the whole time. I think, once again, if we go on to win this league in May, we may look back and say, giving Diaz those extra few weeks to get over any problems he had fully, get his match fitness up, get everything right back up, so you have a fully fit and firing Diaz, rather than kind of a limping Diaz who's there because he needs to be there, but he's not at his full physical capacity. We may be glad of. Like, you know yourself, lads, when Diaz is on the pitch, the whole team plays better. Everybody plays better. Everybody's willing to take more risks, be more creative, express themselves more, because I feel like, right, if I do fuck up and I do get the ball away, this guy behind me is willing to give his life to protect our goal. Yeah. So I'm willing, as Kevin De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva, to bomb forward and be more creative. So we need him. We need him like he is now.
Bro. And the thing is, with all due respect to Akanji, I think he's done really well since he came in, especially for the price tag. But he ain't that guy, you know what I mean? He was brought in as a fourth or fifth choice centre back, and unfortunately, we've had to play him as a first choice. Well, Pep's played him as a first choice for whatever reason, and I think he's done really, really well. But he's just not that good compared to Diaz, Laporte, and Stones. And he is, and he's probably, out of everyone, he's probably the worst. If you go through all the centre backs, I think he's probably the worst defender out of the 5 that we have at the football club. So the fact that he's been playing, and like I said, I'm not trying to dig him out here, because I think he's done really, really well, especially for the fee that we brought him in and the fact that he's only just joined. But that is an issue. And you might be right. The fact that now we're going, you look at the fixture list coming up now, it's a game every 3 days. It's ridiculous. And maybe come the end of the season, we might be looking at Diaz and saying that was a good move to give him a rest.
The other thing is, we don't know this, and I don't think it will ever be confirmed, but I think when we look back, Pep deciding to get Cancelo out on loan, I think it's massive, right? Because since Cancelo's gone, Bernardo all of a sudden is looking more like the Bernardo of old. Maybe, and I'm only saying maybe, but maybe with Diaz, we have to be honest. 3 Portuguese players, they are going to speak to each other, right? So I don't know. I'm clutching at stuff here, but
no. When you hear a manager constantly refer to the players having more focus, it makes you wonder, what was the distraction?
Yeah,
it's not here anymore.
Fernandinho being Brazilian speaking, him not being here now, even down to De Bruyne and Gundogan's drop off. That's captain and vice captain kind of as the seniors, And if you're going, I've always got told from young that at work you spend more time with your colleagues than you do your loved ones, right? So we have to be real. Our squad are like a family, And all of a sudden, De Bruyne and Gundogan are being asked to deal with issues that maybe involve friends, And I don't think personally those 2 are leaders. So maybe their form's dipped because they don't know how to deal with it. And I think this is perfect. I honestly think getting rid of Cancelo by Pep, he thought, this is the whole situation in the dressing room is not going to get better. Otherwise, he would have just benched him and said, you know what, we'll sell him in the summer. The fact it was out on loan now, and then all of a sudden, Bernardo's coming in and looking like the Bernardo we know. Ruben Dias is back in. Yeah, I don't know. I think that might also be a massive turning point for us as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair. Before we wrap up, I do want to speak about Erling Haaland. Hugh, I know you got to get off, and Daps at 9, so if you guys need to drop out, no problem. But Erling Haaland yesterday, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, like I put out on social media, and this is my honest opinion, I think that was his best performance in the Manchester City shirt. Yeah. I know people will look at the United game and go and say hat-trick, assists or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his all-round game. I was so shocked when I went on social media and I seen some people saying it was quiet in the first half. It was absolutely everything. It was even though we weren't even that great in the first half, Saliba and Gabriel could not handle him. He was running the channels absolutely incredibly well. He was winning all the aerial duels. His passing was crisp. You know what I mean? He's dropping in deep, getting on the ball, maybe like a Harry Kane type thing, was excellent. He took his goal really nice as well. I thought it was a complete performance. And I was really, really shocked to see some people say it was an okay performance. I thought it was absolutely exceptional. We're going to a team that's top of the Premier League that haven't lost there since April 2022. I thought his performance yesterday was stunning. And yeah, for me, I know he only got the one goal, but I thought it was his best performance in a City shirt. Where do you guys sort of like assess his game yesterday?
I think it was his best. I think it was his best in a City shirt as well. I'm in full agreement. And people are maybe rival fans aren't appreciating it enough because they've become so accustomed to strikers like Harry Kane who have different games to Erling Haaland. But as we know, Erling Haaland is far more of a 90s striker, if you like, a more traditional striker. It's not his game. He's not. You don't want him dropping to the halfway line and spraying balls then out of the wings for Grealish and Mahrez to run to. You want him to be that terrifying number 9, and he was absolutely terrifying. I mean, up close, and when I was watching, when we were shooting down towards the away end, whenever the Arsenal centre halves had the ball facing their own goal, they were terrified. They were petrified because they could feel this rapid Norwegian giant up their arse. Like, he's disgustingly quick. And every time they're on the ball, he was on them. His levels of determination yesterday were outrageous. The sheer strength he showed as well. And I think he probably should have had a penalty. I haven't seen it back properly. The finish on his weaker right foot as well, a proper striker's finish. For me, it's his best all-round performance. He scored more goals, obviously, in games before, but he hasn't contributed to a game yet like the way he did last night.
Contribution, bro, is where it's at, man. Jace, what do you make of it, bro?
I was very impressed with Haaland yesterday. I think we've seen him score numerous hat-tricks, and I think yesterday's performance was better than any hat-trick that I've seen Haaland score for City this season. He's started to adapt to the striker that Pep Guardiola is looking for. He's a striker that if he needs to appear on the left and help the team out, he's there. If he needs to be on the right and dribbling down the wing and helping support there, he's there. He's got the pace, he's got the power, he's got the presence that he can be anywhere on the pitch to be able to help the team. And most importantly, he's in the right place at the right time to find goals. City have brought Erling Haaland in to score goals. He's done that, and he's starting now to adapt his game to help the team out. And the goal that he scored yesterday, for me, showed excellent movement on his behalf. It showed that he's capable to be able to move it from one side to the other. And he was just really helping to support the team in any way which was possible, which is what's required from a Pep Guardiola player. So that was really good to see. I was very impressed with how Erling Haaland was not only in the positions to receive the ball, he was literally just everywhere on the pitch. I'd like to be able to see his heat map from yesterday, because honestly, I'm so used to just seeing Haaland being this figure up top that looks frustrated, that's pointing for where he wants the ball. He wants to make the run. And I think he's just started to realize, actually, I don't need to make direct runs behind the defense. What I can do is the space over on the right, the space over on the left. If I exploit them spaces, we're playing with 4 central midfielders. These midfielders will start to crop up in the right place at the right time. We saw it with İlkay Gundogan with his goal in the game against Villa when Erling Haaland managed to get the assist. And he's also starting to showcase that he's got the ball playing skills to be able to suit the Man City system, because before the Aston Villa game, everyone was just speaking about Haaland being a tapping merchant. He's a player that doesn't have any touches. He can't play football. All he knows how to do is score goals. Well, the last couple of games, he's been able to do everything that's been required for him. And he's also chipping away at his goal scoring tally too. I was so impressed with Erling Haaland yesterday. I don't think he's getting enough credit for how well he performed. De Bruyne is one of the players that's getting mentioned a lot about how well he did. But Erling Haaland, for me, right up there for one of the man of the match performances yesterday.
I don't know what you guys think. I don't know what you guys think, but you know the way people have been saying for since we signed him that City need to get to understand Haaland. They need to understand how he plays to get the most out of him. The last two games have shown me the opposite. He's starting to understand us. He's starting to understand Pep Guardiola and the way we want to play football.
I think Lewis touched on this yesterday on Big Six, that, or maybe it wasn't you, Lewis, by the fact you didn't respond to that. But I watched something where someone was saying that we've always been going with he needs to get used to the way City play. But the fact is, we need to get used to the way he plays. But the fact is, he also needs to know that different players will play different types of through balls, right? And so playing with different players. But I saw a stat yesterday, or I got told it, that possession-wise, that was one of the least possession we've had in a game. Mm-hmm. But the number of touches that Haaland had yesterday was hard.
There. Yeah.
Which is showing, and this is the thing, right? The way he was in the second half, popping up on the right-hand side, right, and pressing. It's almost like Pep had said, there's a mistake in these, man. Just use your strength. They will, and that is exactly what he was doing. He was just using his strength and pace, and he was causing them all sorts of issues. And you know what? This is why the Premier League really needs to worry, because this is first season Haaland. Once Haaland's been round this squad and Pep for a season, it's worrying, man.
Just add two things very quickly. The first is probably because of who he is and his high profile. He tends to get jeered a lot by the opposition fans in the ground. You guys that were there probably heard that. Every time he loses the ball or kicks out of play, he gets jeers. And what it does for me is I celebrate Haaland goals now more than any other player. Like he is, when he scores, I just feel like a real pride that he's ours, because he's partly getting jeered by opposition fans because of who he is. Number two, have you noticed? You might not have noticed this across the pond, but I'm over here in the States, and there's a new breed of player coming into City now that City will allow to talk to the media. We used to have David Silva, English wasn't great. Aguero, English wasn't great, so they wouldn't let him talk to the press. But the NBC crew over here in the States cannot get enough of Erling Haaland and Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
And the City press officers are letting them speak, and they're becoming absolute darlings over here. Brilliant
I
stuff.
was going to say this earlier on, right? And you're spot on with those two players. And listen, any rival fans that are watching this and want to talk about how is City making this much money? By signing players like Grealish and Haaland, right? And allowing them to speak to the press. That's how we're making money, right? So they'll knock that. Oh, these are commercial deals. Well, yeah, we have to, because you lot are going to judge us on everything. So we have to. But you're spot on.
My
After
son.
the game, well, like, what was the game where Haaland nearly got Everton, I think it was, where he nearly got sent off. He is constantly looking at the City fans, egging us on, getting us to get behind him. That's what we need. We're missing Zinchenko. We got Haaland now. He gets it. Like, he is like a City fan. He is a City fan. And we need that. And even after the game, he's come out and I think he's tweeted saying, I'm going to do my best to keep this going. Like, that's what we need. And it's perfect, man.
No, it does make money.
He's
mate.
a fantastic personality, isn't he, as well?
Yeah. My son is 17. He plays football 2 nights a week in front of a crowd, underneath big lights. Whenever there's a goal scored, whether it be his team or the other team, whoever scored it is doing an Erling Haaland celebration every time. They're all doing it. They're all at it. All these American kids love this guy. He's a huge personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't let the media know you said that. I won't like
that. People asking where Hugh's gone. He's got a dip. He had to go, but we're going to wrap it up now anyway. He had to go to get on the show. So big up Hugh for coming on, man. Like I say, he just had to dip. So all the guys' channels, we've got Move from Noisy Pod. Move, what have you got coming up on the content wise, bro?
Yeah, doing a pod tonight with Joey. It'll be out in the morning over there in England. Should be out late tonight in the States.
Cool. That's on like Spotify, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
All that shit.
Sweet. Yeah. Daps, man, what are you saying?
I'm chilling for the rest of the night, to be fair. Never a foul. We just got content always, so I don't know. Someone will tell me what I'm doing when I'm doing it. So, yeah.
Jace, you're your own boss. No one tells you what to do, man.
Tell myself what I need to do. I've got my Villa preview coming out tomorrow. I need to get that the Forest preview coming out tomorrow. I need to get that written up, and then got my watch along on Saturday. And games are coming thick and fast now.
Yeah, man.
So there's no rest anywhere, is there? I won't have it any other way. Loads of content coming out to look forward to.
There we go. Guys, go and do us a favour, man. Go subscribe to these on YouTube. Listen to Mulv and Joey. Funny fucking podcast, them two guys, man. So go check them out. Proper good. Subscribe to it. Help grow the City community online, man. Let's do it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel as well if you guys are new. And guys, we'll see you in the next one. See you later. Bye-bye.